Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Who is this?
Big Buckets.
Big Buckets. Let's go ahead and get this party started, Bears fans. Walter Payton, it's the man. Find Cole Kmet wide open. Touchdown, Bears. Let me put it on again. Keek is on fire. I love it. I could probably beat him in the 40. Let's freaking go, Chicago Bears fans. Breaking news out of Chicago.
I think I can fit in as like a water boy for the Panthers or something. I'm not talking about get on the field,
Put it right behind me, so every time I'm on the podcast, like, you got Isaiah Fry's jersey? Hell yeah, I do. Let's go. You got on with the Bears organization. You got high up. Would I be like a water boy for you or something? What's going on? What role am I? Comment Bear down if you love Keek on the Mic and if you love the Chicago Bears. Who is this?
Georgia's house.
And as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.
Hey, what's going on, Chicago Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. We actually have some breaking news out of Chicago. The Chicago Bears are planning to release running back, wide receiver, and kick returner Velus Jones Jr., along with fullback Khari Blasingame. I guess the experiment is over, right? With obviously Velus Jones Jr. Honestly, Khari Blasingame is an interesting situation. I felt like there was a spot on this team for him as well. But hey, they released both of them. That really means that the Chicago Bears probably have a couple of guys that are coming back. Travis Homer. No, we have edge rusher coming back. Larry Borum's coming back off of IR here pretty soon. So they're probably just trying to create space, right? For those guys that come back off of IR. This is not really too much of surprising news. I think the big thing for me when looking at Velus Jones Jr., just things never really materialized. When you're looking at a guy, it was definitely an experiment. They tried everything in their power, putting him in that running back, being a returner, just didn't work well with that. Wasn't really a good receiver. Didn't really produce at a high level as a receiver either. Just things did not work out. But the one thing for me, this seems like a missed opportunity by Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears, especially when you're considering looking at Velus Jones Jr. They showed it a little bit in Hard Knocks as well. Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears during training camp, during the offseason, had the opportunity to possibly trade Velus Jones Jr. Nope, they gave him one more chance as a running back. And now that looks like it backfired. So even if they would have gotten a 5th or 6th round pick for Velus Jones Jr., I think Ryan Poles and the Bears should have taken that opportunity to get some extra draft capital. And it's a huge missed opportunity now because now he is placed on waivers. Once again, it's not too big of a move for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. There may be some people a little bit confused about Khari Blasingame, but that's also a guy that's been kind of banged up this year, kind of lost his space here in Chicago, especially on offense, and just didn't need him. So, you release 2 guys. Once again, you're getting a couple of guys back healthy, guys like Ryan Bates, Larry Borum, Travis Homer, among others. So probably just trying to create space. They did say that these moves would not be completed until Saturday. So they're not going to officially release Velus Jones and Khari Blasingame until Saturday. And I believe right after that, you'll see some corresponding moves for some guys that come back from IR and probably be activated prior to that Sunday's matchup against the Washington Commanders. So it's just one of those things that it does suck. I know there was a lot of people kind of, praying on Velus Jones Jr. downfall. Definitely frustrating to watch him play, especially with all the muff punts and some of the games that he possibly cost us in his career. But I know me personally as a Bears fan, I was rooting for him and hoping that, his reassurance as a running back would definitely help him. But at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Ryan Poles admitted to his mistake. And the experiment is now over here in Chicago, and Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame will be released from the Chicago Bears as soon as Saturday. So let's go ahead and interact for a little bit here in the comment section. Talk to you guys for a little bit. Once again, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. I definitely see some Lions fans in the chat. So, appreciate you coming in and taking some time, even though you're not a Bears fan, into my channel and talking a little bit of stuff. Obviously the Lions are having a good season so far. Hopefully they can finally get it done this season so you guys can relax a little bit and finally get your Super Bowl championship. Someone did say, just from the thumbnail, seemed like I was hoping on this man downfall. Yeah, didn't have a lot of time to really make a thumbnail, right? So I just posted a picture, a sad picture of Velus Jones Jr. And moved on. So Donkey Kong says F the Bears, F the Lions as well. I definitely love it. Philly Special Card says, yo. Miguel says, why wouldn't Poles trade his ass instead of releasing him? Shake my head. Yeah, that's definitely a missed opportunity by Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. They definitely should have just taken the draft capital, knowing that Velus Jones Jr. career here in Chicago was already done. But I think they saw a glimmer of hope, especially how he looked at running back during the preseason. Looked pretty good as a running back. But as soon as week one, I kind of knew that he was done here in Chicago. Just never materialized. I think he's definitely an athlete. He's definitely fast, but just makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. Donkey Kong says Lions Super Bowl or bust. Number one in the North, number one in the NFC. That's definitely good for you guys. Frank says F Detroit. So yes, F Detroit. Someone said, he also said the toilet. Frank also said bear down to you as well, Frank. And then Donkey Kong says they both suck anyway. Bears are scrub. Yeah, so technically it's making the Chicago Bears better. If they suck, Donkey Kong, that means the Bears have just gotten better today, right? So that's how you have to look at it. Frank says, F all Bears haters. Yeah, hey, that's what you gotta love about the NFC North being good this year, right? And just the competition is that's what football is about. It's talking that mess. Hopefully Detroit can keep it up, because I know that if Detroit, especially if they lose to the Chicago Bears, I know a lot of people are going to be going after guys like Donkey Kong, right? So, Boz Playa says Velus is worth a box of glazed donuts. Yeah, but there definitely was some interest in Velus Jones Jr. at the end of the offseason, which was curious. I would love to see what the compensation was. But at this point, you waived him, right? So any compensation would be better than just releasing a player. I can guarantee you there's a lot of people interested in seeing what, especially after what they saw from Velus Jones Jr. as a running back. And then there's a lot of people interested to, bring Velus Jr. onto this team. I don't think he'll be on waivers for long. There will definitely be another team interested in maybe trying out the experiment of Velus Jones Jr. But at this point, it just did not work out here in Chicago. And at this point, it's a good move for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. Just, count your losses. The experiment didn't work. I think when we picked them a couple of years ago with our third round pick, there was a lot of, people scratching their heads. Like, there was other players on the board, and they opted to take Velus Jones Jr., knowing it would be an experiment, and the experiment did not work. So it is what it is at this point. Frank said, Bears 34, Commanders 20. Giving a score prediction for this Sunday's matchup against the Commanders. Yes, that would definitely be a good score. I'm really hoping that Jaden Daniels is able to suit up, because I really want to see the Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams matchup. Someone said Bears defense will be number one at the end of the year, family. So yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. I think the Bears defense has been playing really, really well. And like I said, whenever you are getting rid of two players that are not really helping your team, and once again, there will be corresponding moves. The Bears are obviously making room for other players like Larry Borom, Ryan Bates, Travis Homer. I know Jacob Martin, the edge rusher that all Bears fans are excited about, is also coming back from IR in the next couple of days. And they could possibly be activated as soon as hopefully this Sunday's game against the Commanders. The Under the Helmet podcast says, is Khalil Herbert leaving next year? I'm not sure what's going on with Khalil Herbert. I'm not sure if he's going to be traded. I know there's definitely some interest in Khalil Herbert. Teams like the Dallas Cowboys, obviously you heard the rumors, and I believe that Insider actually confirmed that rumor that the Minnesota Vikings called about Khalil Herbert as well. So there's definitely some interest. I think Khalil Herbert is a great back. I think he just doesn't fit the scheme here in Chicago. When Luke Getsy was the offensive coordinator for the Bears, he ran an outside wide zone scheme. Shane Waldron's more inside zone. So Khalil Herbert's just kind of left out of the shuffle here in Chicago, especially when Travis Homer comes back. I think at that point, Khalil Herbert will be good as gone. But I love Khalil Herbert. I loved him as a running back. I think Khalil Herbert's biggest flaw is his pass blocking ability. And I think that's what's kind of killed him over the last couple of years here in Chicago. The Under Helmet podcast also asked, how is Javon Dexter doing so far this season? Doing really, really good. It's one of the best young defensive tackles in the National Football League. I think before the bye week, I think he had 4 or 5 sacks. So definitely effective getting after the quarterback, looking good against the run as well. I think this was the Bears' big plan, because he can finally be that long-term 3 technique that the Bears have been looking for the last couple of years, right? So for me, loving the development of Javon Dexter, because I think he's going to be able to take this Bears defensive line to a whole new level. So, hey, Bears fans, does this news surprise you at all that the Bears actually released Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you have a question for me, go ahead and put it in the comment section as well. And once again, if you are new to the channel, do first and foremost, make sure you do me a huge favor by hitting the like button on today's episode of Geek on the Mic. Make sure you share this podcast with every single Bears fan that you know. And make sure you also hit the subscribe button as well. We are now past 14,000 subscribers. And as promised, I will be doing a giveaway in the next couple of weeks in honor of you guys helping me get to 14,000 subscribers. And the podcast continues to grow as well. So once again, thank you guys all so much for all the love and support. But as we're talking about right now, breaking news out of Chicago is that the Bears are planning to release wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame. So some big news, not really surprising news, but the Bears finally decided to let go of Velus Jones Jr. I wonder what they're going to do with a guy like Nate Davis, if they're actually going to find a home for Nate Davis, or are they going to say, hey, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and release Nate Davis as well. So I'm curious to see as the November 5th trade deadline looms for the Chicago Bears, if they will be sellers or they'll be buyers, or will they be both seller and buyers at the November 5th trade deadline. So once again, this is going to be an interesting development, but I do think by releasing Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame, it definitely does suck to see them go. Definitely sucks for their families, but I think it does make the Chicago Bears better because now in corresponding moves, you can bring back more depth on the offensive line with Larry Borum. I know a lot of people are excited about Jacob Martin, the young edge rusher that we have. It looked really good in preseason. He's coming back soon as well. And then, of course, Travis Homer is a really good special teamer for the team and just a backup running back as well. And of course, Ryan Bates is coming back in the next couple of weeks. So I think they're going to probably have to release a couple other guys to, make sure you have room for those 4 guys coming back from IR. Once again, Frank, I do appreciate you. Says, don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, do me a huge favor by hitting the like button. Once again, I appreciate every single one of you guys. I do want to make a quick announcement that I will be going live for the Bears versus Commanders matchup. That game has been flexed, so it's no longer starting at 10 a.m. my time or 1 p.m. your time. It's going to be starting at 1:25 my time. That means 4:25 wherever you are at. So I will be going live, probably starting my live stream at around 1 p.m. PST here in California. It should be a great game. I expect the Chicago Bears off the bye week to be a refreshed team and ready to roll against a very good Washington Commanders team with or without Jaden Daniels. So it's going to be a tough test for the Bears this weekend, but I do think they will end up victorious. So there goes Donkey Kong again. I definitely love the persistence from Donkey Kong. He says, F the Bears. And he says, go Redskins. I had to put this comment up because I definitely love the fact that you said go Redskins, and that's definitely not their mascot anymore, buddy. It's definitely the Washington Commanders. So before you talk mess, right, you want to make sure you know your stuff. But hey, I love the persistence. So you should probably change your comment to say go Commanders, right? So they're no longer Redskins. They are the Washington Commanders. But once again, I definitely love the persistence from other teams' fan bases when they come on here and talk a little mess on this Chicago Bears podcast at that. I'm not really sure if there's a lot of Bears fans that go on other, NFL teams podcasts and talk a lot of mess, but it seems like I always see Detroit Lions fans in Chicago Bears podcast streams. It's always the most hilarious thing. So it must mean that we're doing something right. It must mean they like us enough to take time out of their day to come tune into a Bears live stream. Someone said only losers call it the Commanders. I don't know what that means. It's literally their mascot, the Commanders. Someone said, go Birds, F the commies. Yeah, I know the Philadelphia Eagles probably definitely want the Chicago Bears to win this game. The Commanders have looked really good to start the season, especially with Jaden Daniels. Obviously, I think they're sitting at 5-2. I think they are actually leading the NFC East. So this is going to be a really good matchup for both the Bears and the Commanders, especially if Jaden Daniels plays. This is going to be a really good matchup. That's one of the reasons why they flex this game. Now you have Tony Romo and Jim Nantz calling this game. It's going to be on CBS. It's definitely like a prime time slot as well. So it's going to be a very, very good game. Kevin Horde said the Commanders will be crazy to play JD against the Bears defense. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I think with that rib injury, you don't want to make this a long-term thing. Of course, I want Jaden Daniels to play. I want to see that matchup, but I think long-term, you have to understand who you're playing. You're playing a top 10 defense that have some hard hitters on this defense. So if Jaden Daniels gets hit hard one more time, it may, be more of a long-term injury. So you definitely don't want to mess with ribs. I'm not sure if any of you guys ever had a rib injury or had ever broken a rib, because I know I fractured my ribs just last year, and it's one of the most painful things I have ever had to go through. So just imagine having a bruised or broken rib and a guy like TJ Edwards absolutely smacking you in that spot. So, as much as I think we want to see this matchup between Daniels and Williams, I think long term, the Commanders need to think long and hard about playing a guy like Jaden Daniels. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. Once again, if you guys are just now tuning in, the big news here on the live stream today is that the Bears are planning to release wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame. And once again, I think, people liked Velus Jones Jr. I think they saw the potential of what he could offer to the team, but just never materialized on the field. Definitely a really good guy, but just being a good guy doesn't mean that you are producing on the football field. And like I said, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears did everything in their power to make things work or make things try to work for a guy like Velus Jones Jr., but unfortunately, it just never worked here in Chicago. So now he is gone. And like I said, these corresponding moves will probably free some space for guys like Ryan Bates, Larry Borum, Travis Homer, coming back from IR in the next couple of days. Once again, I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and we now have 82 people on the chat. If you guys have any questions about the upcoming Commanders-Bears game, you guys have any comments about the releasing of Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame, or we just want to say what's up in the chat, or say, talk some mess to Donkey Kong for me, you guys can do that as well. Appreciate you guys so much for being here. So Kevin Hoare says, Keek, do you think they are releasing these players due to the trade deadline and they are making room? It definitely could be. I definitely know, once again, I keep repeating this. They could be making room for maybe some big moves at the trade deadline, or they definitely have a couple of guys as well coming back from IR. Once again, Larry Borum's coming back from IR, and we have Ryan Bates coming back from IR. Travis Homer's also coming back from IR as well. And then Jacob Martin, the young edge rusher that a lot of Bears fans like, and it's also coming back from injured reserve. So it could go both ways. They could be making some moves to free up some space for the trade deadline. Once again, things are going to get crazy over the next couple of weeks as that November 5th trade deadline looms. I just can't picture Ryan Poles, especially with the Bears sitting at 4-2, with a chance to possibly make the playoffs or maybe even push for the NFC North. You never know, that they may go out and make a big time move to get the Chicago Bears over the hump to at least make the playoffs and have a good standing in the NFC North as well. I don't expect the Chicago Bears to win the NFC North this year. That's not what I'm saying. But right now, sitting at 4-2 in a really tough division, I can see Ryan Poles making a big time move to allow the Bears to get over the top. Really good question. Thanks, Kevin. Once again, I do appreciate you guys being here. Once again, if you are just now joining, the Bears have released wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame. Make sure you do me a favor by hitting the subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. We have now surpassed 14,000 subscribers. Now we're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. It's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Also, do me a huge favor by also hitting the like button on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, and share this podcast with every single Bears fan that you know. I feel like we have a really good time on this podcast, especially during the live streams. Once again, I love all the comments I get, even the haters from the Detroit Lions fan base, that they come in and, talk a little bit of mess as well. I definitely appreciate everyone that comes in and tunes into my streams. So Donkey Kong, here he goes again. I actually love this guy. I really like this guy. He says making room for more crappy players. That's funny. It's funny about the Detroit Lions, that I keep referring back that we were literally 4 minutes last year. 4 minutes. 4 minutes, as long as our coaches weren't crappy. 4 minutes from sweeping the Detroit Lions last year. That is a fun fact. I'm really, really happy for the Detroit Lions. They were one game away, or at least a half away, from making the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, they did choke that game against the San Francisco 49ers. And I was actually going for the Lions, because I live in California, and I absolutely hate the San Francisco 49ers. But like I said, I definitely love the persistence from Lions fans. We are Trade Talk Sports Chicago in the chat. How you doing, my bro? He says, Keek, no disrespect to Velus, but thank God they cut Velus. I don't know what took them so long. They tried him at wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. He can be good when he doesn't have to catch the ball. Yeah, that's why I think we saw some success with Velus Jones Jr. when they tried to experiment with him at running back, was the fact that he didn't really have to worry about catching the ball, just handing off the ball. And then, the instincts kicked in, right? Him being athletic, him being fast, right? He looked really good at running back. He didn't get a lot of carries once the regular season hit. But I know that burst and that speed and athleticism is evident. That's why I don't think he will be on the waiver wire for too long. There will be another team interested in Velus Jones Jr. services for sure, and they may take a chance on a young kid that definitely has some speed, and maybe he can find some success elsewhere, but it just didn't happen here in Chicago. Kevin says hating is a sickness, Donkey Kong, and you should make a doctor's appointment. It definitely could be. Ruben's in the chat. How you doing, Ruben? Thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. He says, Keek, great updates. Bear down to you as well, Ruben. I definitely see you and your support of the channel. So thank you so much for your continued support of Keek on the Mic. Quan says, LOL, Kevin. Yeah, maybe it is a sickness. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. It just comes with the nature of doing football podcasts. KG the Barber says, we own the Lions, but the instincts kicked in Miami, and I let it we can be back, right? He looked really good at her. I love it. Yeah, we do pretty well against the Lions, I would say. I think everyone in NFC North owns someone. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers own us. I feel like we play really good against the Detroit Lions, and it's kind of just like a revolving door, right? It just happens, just the nature of the game. But like I said, the Lions fans are on an all-time high. Let him have his fun. They're playing really, really good football. And they look like a really good team. They look like a true contender in the NFC, and they could very well go to the Super Bowl this year. I personally think it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens to win it all, especially with the way that Derrick Henry is playing right now. But like I said, let the Detroit Lions fans have some fun, right? So let them have their fun. I think, if we were in that situation and we were playing really good football, I think we would be excited as well. So it doesn't bother me whatsoever. Someone said the Vikings are being exposed. Yeah, I figured that they would fizzle out here at a certain point. The Trade Talk Sports Chicago says, my question, this is a good question. My question is, what is Velus good at? Can't play wide receiver. He can't catch the ball. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think people may bring him in as a running back. I think they saw the little success that he had in preseason at running back. So I think they may bring him in and experiment at running back. So like I said, he didn't get a lot of opportunities here in Chicago because of DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, just a loaded backfield here in Chicago, but he may find some success elsewhere. Someone said, KG the Barber said, once again, we own the Lions. I love it. I can't wait. Like I said, I can't wait until all the NFC North matchups. I think it's a good thing that we're playing our division later in the year. If we would have played any of our division teams earlier in the year, they would have absolutely beat the crap out of us. And I truly believe that. But now that, everyone's comfortable, including the offense and Caleb Williams, it's going to be really, really good matchups in the NFC North. Roto says, why do we start off slow every game? That is something that, that Shane Waldron actually came out and said, you know what, hey, we got to figure this out. We got to figure out a rhythm of why we're starting off so slow. Because first quarter, watching the Chicago Bears is probably the most miserable thing that I ever have to do, right? Every single week in the first quarter, they just do not look good. They look disoriented. And, the first 15 plays should be your best plays, right? It shouldn't take you too long to find a rhythm in this offense. But for some reason, and they always start off slow, so hopefully they can get it figured out this weekend. Coming off the bye week against the Commanders. Paulie says, it seems like they are freeing up cap space for a big trade. Could be, like I said, Ryan Poles is keen for making huge moves at the trade deadline. Obviously a couple years ago, you got Chase Claypool. Last year, you got Montez Sweat. So does Ryan Poles have another big move in store for the Chicago Bears at the November 5th trade deadline? We're going to find out in a couple of weeks, but I think he may have something big in store. Trade Talk Sports Chicago says, what do you think about the Drake May versus Caleb Williams matchup? And do you think Jaden will play this week? If so, how do we contain him? I'm going to start off by talking about Jaden Daniels. I don't think he's going to play, right? I think with that rib injury, I think they're just, it's going to be a game time decision. I'll be very shocked if he does play just because, ribs are not something that you should really mess with. But if he does play, I think first and foremost, you just have to try to have a spy on him. You need to keep him in the pocket as much as possible because we all know how good he is with his legs. If he gets outside the pocket and he starts running, it could be a very long day for the Chicago Bears. So I would try to do my best to keep him in the pocket. Try to confuse him as much as possible. Once again, he's still a rookie. I would actually, try to blitz him, but you have to make sure if you're blitzing him, you have that spy as well, just in case he's able to escape the pocket. I think that matchup between Drake May is low-key going to be a good one. Drake May has looked good so far. Overall, New England Patriots aren't a good football team, but he has looked good overall in a very crappy situation. So I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup between him and Caleb Williams in just 2 short weeks when we play the Patriots. Thank you so much for the question. Once again, if you're just now tuning in, there's breaking news out of Chicago that the Bears are planning to release wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame as soon as Saturday. So the experiment with Velus Jones Jr. is now complete here in Chicago. And as soon as Saturday, they will release him and he will have the opportunity to go elsewhere. So, yeah. KG the Barber says, if we get 3 more linemen, we will be in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I hope so. They have to be good linemen, right? I think that's one of the things that the Bears are probably missing, just maybe 1 or 2 more interior offensive linemen. And we could be a really good football team, right? And we're getting there. You see the improvements every single week on the Chicago Bears offense. And they're looking really good, right? We haven't really been tested besides the Houston Texans game, but even in that game, we only lost by a score of 19-13. So things are definitely looking up here for Chicago. We're not really thinking Super Bowl as soon as this year. I think Ryan Poles and the Bears would love to get into the playoffs to get the young guys some experience. But if we could just make the playoffs and get some experience, that would be huge for Caleb Williams in his first year. Kevin says Commanders are playing head games with the Bears. JD is not going to play. Yeah, that's why I think so too. And which to me, it doesn't matter if he plays or not. I think we have a plan either way because at the end of the day, Marcus Mariota, he also is very athletic. He could also run right and use his legs as well. So either way, I think it would be the same game plan. The Bears Club's in the house says, Bear down, Keek. Bear down to you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. He says, these 2 releases is a very big hint to who we're making room for. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure if these moves are just mean that with the guys that are coming back from IR, or if they're planning to make a huge swing for maybe Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. You never know. Or maybe an offensive lineman from another team like Zach Martin, right? So we'll have to find out, but we're going to find out soon as the November 5th trade deadline looms. Someone says, if Gordon is out, I think Blackwell has a good game. Yes, I also think, once again, you have to understand that we have really good backups as well. They've also been part of this defense for the last 3 years. So the continuity on the defense is crazy good for the Bears right now. Red Greg says, what are the chances the Bears get some O-linemen or a pass rusher? It's pretty high, I would say. I think one or the other. I think at the deadline, I can see him going either way. And it may not be a flashy name, but I can see the Bears making some type of move at the trade deadline. Someone says our Bears are fine at wide receiver depth. Yes, they are. I definitely love what we're seeing from the receivers over the last couple of weeks. Someone says bear down to all Bears fans. Bear down to you as well. It says Bears 42, Commander 17, blowout in DC. I would absolutely love that. I would love to put an exclamation point, and have a dominating win, especially coming off the bye week. You think after the bye week, you should come out swinging, right? And I hope the Bears do that on Sunday. Once again, I do appreciate you guys so much. Once again, like I said, the big news out of Chicago today is that the Bears are planning to release wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame as soon as Saturday. As always, I'll be on here for a couple of more minutes. You guys can continue to ask me questions in the chat as well, and I'll try my best to get to every single question. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you do me a huge favor. Also, hit the like button on today's live stream right here on Keek on the Mic. If you guys enjoy my channel or my updates, you guys would really enjoy my play-by-play live streams as well. We get really energetic here in the chat, and this week I will be going live for this huge matchup, this absolutely huge matchup for the Bears versus Commanders. So make sure you guys come and tune in for that stream on Sunday. Hey, that Donkey Kong, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was over here giving you credit. Bears duck. Bears duck. You need to, if you need some spelling lessons, I will give you some spelling lessons. I will. But you got to know how to spell. If you're going to talk mess, you got to know how to spell at least. At least do that for me, okay? I don't mind you talking mess, but let's know how to spell before you start roasting Bears fans in the chat. Oh, that absolutely pitiful. Absolutely pitiful from Detroit Lions fans, man. You guys are your team is at the top of their game, but your fans, I'm not sure if you're at your top of your game. Absolutely pitiful. Pitiful. Okay, someone says, hope Bears get Myles Garrett. That'd actually be a big move, but I think the price may be too high. Thomas Gage says, what's up, Keek? How you doing, Thomas? Thank you so much. Says, should have tried to trade Velus for that 5th rounder. Yeah, it definitely sucks. I think that would have been great compensation for Velus Jones Jr., right? So, missed opportunity, but it happens. Roto says, bear down to you as well. The Bears Club says, going into Sunday in Washington, D.C., Freeland said that Freeland is giving the comments over us by 1 point. Daniels isn't playing in this matchup. Mariota is a weak link against our number 3 ranked defense. Yeah, that's going to be a big storyline. I do want to let you guys know that surprisingly, Marcus Mariota is 2-0 against the Chicago Bears during his career. So maybe Marcus Mariota has the Bears numbers, but like I said, like you just said, the Bears do have the number 3 ranked defense in the National Football League. There's some people going at Donkey Kong in the chat. Like I said, I don't really mind Donkey Kong being in the chat, but you gotta know how to spell, brother. He's literally, let me put this comment back up again. He says, Bears duck. Bears duck. That's funny. That's funny. You bring a lot of enjoyment in my life when you come on my streams and try to talk mess, but you got to know how to spell, brother. You got to know how to spell. Come on now. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Bears do over the next couple of weeks. And like I said, like some people are saying in the chat as well, these 2 small moves of Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame could have extreme significance as we get near to that November 5th trade deadline. Could they use these 2 moves to, save some space to go make a big move for an offensive lineman or an edge rusher? Or is these just like 2 moves to make sure you have space for your guys coming on IR? So it could literally go both ways. But like I said, with Ryan Poles, he is a very aggressive GM, and he's not scared to make any type of move to make the Chicago Bears better. Once again, if you guys have any more questions in the chat, I will stay on for a couple more minutes as we are talking about the release of Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame. Mile High Boost has an opinion. He says, not happy. It's just waiving Velus instead of a full release. Blasingame should have been used more. Yeah, and that the release or waiving of Khari Blasingame is a little bit confusing. I feel like when he's actually in the game, he was a good use, especially helping jolt the running game. But you see that even when he is healthy, they use Doug Kramer as a fullback, especially when they're in those goal line situations. So I guess, there's no need for a fullback at this point because they don't really use them often. So at this point, clear a roster spot for someone that you could use and someone that can actually help this football team. And then with Velus Jones Jr., we kind of saw this coming. It was just a matter of time. KG the Barber says, Keek has the best sports show family. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all, it's humbling that even now at 2:30, right? 2:30 or 2:15 my time, we have 127 people in the chat coming to hang out with me, you guys are engaging with me as well. And I really, really appreciate it. You guys keep me going every single day. Once again, we just surpassed 14,000 subscribers. We are now on the road to 15,000 subscribers, right? And it's all thanks to you. And like I said, I will be doing a huge giveaway in the next couple of weeks just to show my thanks for all the support you guys can to continue to show the channel. Sunny D says, what a donkey you are, Kong Detroit P-Cats fan. LOL, you guys will choke again if you manage to get past the Bears. I love it. Red Greg says, Donkey Kong ? Keek, why are you letting Detroit Lions fans who can't spell on your channel? I don't know, man. I don't mind him being on my channel, but he has to learn how to spell, right? If you want to talk mess, you have to learn how to spell these simple words, right? But, I don't mind other fan bases coming in and talking a little bit of mess from time to time. Thomas Gage says, Keek, any predictions on the trade deadline moves? Trade Nate Davis, B-Rob. I think you mean Dominique Robinson. I think Nate Davis is as good as gone. I'm not sure where he's going to go. I think Khalil Herbert, I can see him going to the Dallas Cowboys for like a 5th round pick as well. I think Dominique Robinson, we'll probably get rid of him as well. But in terms of being sellers, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from Ryan Poles. But I definitely think he's going to sell a couple of our pieces to get some maybe day 3 picks. The Bears Club says, we getting Myles Garrett. No questions about it. You heard it here first. Smirky face. I hope so. I hope so. That would be an epic stream right here on the podcast for sure. Someone says Williams is going to go 26 of 28 for 4 touchdowns and 327 yards. Let's go. Absolutely love that prediction. Let's not forget that Caleb Williams is going back to his hometown of DC, right? And that plays a big significance. He's going to want to show out, right? He's probably gonna have family there. He's going to want to show out for the Washington crowd. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a huge game for Caleb Williams. I think he's going to continue to get better week in and week out. I think the Commanders defense has definitely been playing better over the last couple of weeks, but I don't think Caleb Williams like anything stopping him from having a big game in his hometown. Thomas Gates says, I don't want Myles Garrett at all. Poles values high character guys, and that's definitely a true statement. And even Max Crosby, I'm not sure if he's going to want a guy like Max Crosby, but once again, those are 2 still big names to watch out for as the trade deadline looms on November 5th. Kevin says Williams has 200 plus tickets for the game. Yeah, it's going to be a Caleb Williams show for sure. Someone says D-Rob being traded too. Yeah, there's definitely rumors about that gaining traction, that Dominique Robinson could be on the move as well. That's like another experiment that just hasn't worked out here in Chicago. He's had a couple of years, but nothing has materialized and him really developing into the pass rusher that the Bears hope that he would be. So I think if you're able to even get a 6th or 7th round pick, just trade the guy. There's no use to having him on the team, especially when you're getting a guy like Jacob Martin back here in the next couple of weeks. Mile High Boo says, sounds like there's a chance that Jaden plays. I predict he plays and we still win. Yeah, I think even if he plays, I think the Bears still have a good chance to win. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for both sides, right? I think it's going to be a good matchup. The Commanders are 5-2. The Bears are 4-2. And I think the big thing that people are looking at for both the Commanders and the Bears, that they really just haven't played anybody, right? They haven't been challenged. So, look at the Washington Commanders. They have a very good high-powered offense led by Jaden Daniels, but they haven't seen a defense like the Chicago Bears. You can argue that, the Ravens defense is good, but they're shaky at best. The Bears defense has been solid all season long. Ahmed Cole says, why did they cut Velus Jones Jr.? Just at this point, it's a lost experiment. Lost experiment at this point. Red Greg says, after watching the Vikings lose to the Rams, I now strongly think that the Bears can beat the Vikings. The Vikings don't have good defense. Bears could run. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the Bears to me are getting better week in and week out. And it seems like the Vikings are starting to fizzle out. Obviously, Green Bay is Green Bay. And in Detroit, I think it's still the top dog in our division. But like I said, the division, the NFC North is wide open. So I'm excited to see how the Bears fare against the NFC North this year. Once again, Bears fans, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Once again, the big news for today was the Bears released wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and fullback Khari Blasingame. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you hit the like button on today's episode of Keek on the Mic if you agree with the move that the Bears are releasing or waiving wide receiver Velus Jones Jr. and Khari Blasingame. And make sure you share this episode and live stream of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears that you know. But once again, I will be live again for a play-by-play and live reaction stream for the Bears versus the Commanders starting at 1 p.m. PST on Sunday. I hope to see you guys all there. But once again, love every single one of you guys, all the support you guys continue to show the channel. Bear down, and I'll see you guys soon on Sunday.